Every time you submit an expense report or share some personal document for work, you're kind of forced to make a deal, right? You trade a little bit of your privacy for convenience. But what if you didn't have to make that trade? Today, we're diving into a technology called Enkai that promises something pretty revolutionary: proof without the privacy loss. Let's see how they do it. I mean, really think about it for a second. When you file that expense report, you're handing over receipts, transaction details, maybe even your location. That's a lot of sensitive info. You upload it, and it just poof, goes onto a server somewhere. But who's actually looking at it? Who has access? And are you sure it's really being kept safe? And see, that's the fundamental problem. The old systems, they run on trust. Your personal data lives on their server, and you just have to hope they're doing a good job protecting it. Enkai just flips this entire model on its head. It's built on a really simple but incredibly powerful idea. Your data stays on your device, under your control. This isn't just a small tweak. It's a completely different way of thinking about how software should work. So, how in the world do they actually pull this off? Well, it all starts with one huge idea: putting you, the user, back in the driver's seat. The guiding principle here is something called data sovereignty. It sounds fancy, but the concept is super simple. You should have the final say over your own digital information, period. With Enkai, your data gets encrypted right there on your phone or computer using keys that only you have. This means your information is locked down before it ever even leaves your device. This creates this really fascinating dynamic where the company's system becomes what you would call a blind orchestrator. It can manage the entire workflow, it knows an expense was submitted, it knows it needs approval, but it's completely blind to what's in the report. It's like it's directing traffic without being able to see the cars. Now, this level of privacy isn't magic. Even though it kind of feels like it, it's just really clever engineering built on 3 core technological pillars. So let's break down each one and see how it all fits together. The very first pillar is all about your identity. But instead of some ID badge a company gives you, think of this more like your own personal digital passport. This is all made possible by something called a decentralized identifier, or a DID for short. It's a digital identity that you create, that you own, and that you control. It isn't tied to any single company. This is the bedrock of real data ownership. It's what proves you are you without needing a big corporation's stamp of approval. And this table just lays it out perfectly. A company ID, it's owned by them, and they can revoke it anytime. Your DID, on the other hand, is owned by you, and it's permanent. This move from a borrowed identity to one you actually own is the first crucial step to getting your data sovereignty back. Okay, so you've got your digital passport. Now, where do you keep all your sensitive documents? Well, that brings us right to the second pillar, your very own secure digital locker. Enkai uses a decentralized network called the Interplanetary File System, or IPFS. Now, just think of it this way. Your encrypted receipt gets locked in a super secure box. IPFS gives the company's server a public address for that box. It's basically a claim ticket, but it never gives them the key. So the server knows where your data is, but only your private key can ever open that box and see what's inside. Let's just compare that to the normal way of doing things. With a traditional cloud server, deep down, the company has a way to access your data if they need to. But with an IPFS locker, that's just architecturally impossible. The server only holds the location, not the key. This creates this perfect separation between managing data and actually having access to it. All right, so we've got a secure identity and a secure locker. But hang on, how can the company possibly verify that your expenses are compliant if they can't even see them? This brings us to the third pillar, and honestly, this is where the real magic happens. It's a cryptographic method called a zero-knowledge proof, or ZKP. In the simplest terms, it is a way to prove that you know something, or that a statement is true, without revealing the secret information itself. It is the absolute key to balancing real privacy with the need for compliance. This is the perfect way to think about it. You can prove with mathematical certainty that you have the key and that it fits the lock, but you never actually have to take it out of your pocket. The proof itself is all the verification anyone needs. It's a done deal. So in the real world, what does this actually look like? Well, the system can generate a proof that says, for example, yep, this meal expense complies with IRS tax code, or this mileage claim follows the rules. The auditor sees the proof that the rule was followed, but they never see the details of what you ate, who you were with, or where you drove.
Now that we have a handle on the three pillars, let's put it all together and actually follow the journey of a single expense report from the very beginning to the very end.
First, you get onboarded and create your DID, that's your digital passport. Second, when you submit an expense, it's instantly encrypted right on your device. Third, that encrypted data is stored on IPFS, and the system just gets the public address, the claim ticket. Fourth, a zero-knowledge proof is generated to prove it's compliant. And finally, when you want to look at your own report, the data is pulled from IPFS and decrypted locally, on your device. The server just coordinates the whole dance, completely blind.
So why does any of this matter beyond just making expense reports better? Because this kind of architecture, it isn't just a niche solution. It actually points to a future where all enterprise software can be built from the ground up to respect our privacy by design.
So what do you really gain from all this? Well, let's boil it down. First, true data sovereignty. You actually own and control your financial data. Second, privacy-preserving compliance. You can prove rules were followed without revealing your personal info. And third, it's secure by design. A system that can't be forced to reveal user data is just a fundamentally safer system for everyone. And that's the ultimate takeaway here. By weaving together these three powerful technologies, ENK delivers on a promise that, frankly, used to seem impossible: the ability to provide absolute proof for audits and compliance without ever asking you to give up an ounce of your privacy. And this is the question Enkai really leaves us with. In a world where we're constantly being asked to trade our data for services, this whole model shows us that there might just be another way forward, a future where verification and privacy aren't enemies but partners. And that is something definitely worth thinking about.